Hello everyone, my name is Mai Doan. Welcome to Well Within, Why Beyond. Cultivate emotional resilience for future leader. Let's start with my favorite quote from a Greek philosopher. Change is the only constant. In today's world where artificial intelligence is transforming the workforce, emotional resilience is the key to thriving as a leader, especially in the field of wildlife conservation, which is where I'm working right now. So I'm the COO of Conservation Vietnam, a quite new NGO who focusing on providing funding and building capacity for conservation in Vietnam. To me, being a leader in conservation is to lead with a deep level of empathy and kindness, but also clear boundaries so I can give people advice on where to best spend their time and energy strategically for conservation. So today I'll go through how to build self-awareness and regulate yourself, your emotion under pressure, to foster empathy for a stronger connection with others, and create a personal leadership vision to inspire others to change through a crafting leadership vision exercise. So for me, as a leader in conservation, I understand our role is generally have two main objectives. Number one is to ensure the achievement of conservation goals, including our organization's ambition, keeping promises to our donors and program beneficiaries. But at the same time, we have to spend a lot of time into managing and empowering team members, stakeholders that contribute to the success of our project, including develop other people to lead. So here's two images that my example. One side is the wildlife that we want to protect, and the other side are the people in the community that we are working with. So I would like to make this more interactive. Let's dive in before diving into our concept. So take your time to write down what is one challenge you have faced recently that tests your emotional strength. So emotional resilience, what is that? It starts with managing your emotion, especially in high pressure situations, like leading a conservation project or handling a team conflict. Here I show you a diagram of our brain. You can see there are three key functions, starting with the cerebellum, that's this part of our brain for the instinct and survival. It has basic function to scan the environment from the external and give us information. The amygdala is the emotional processor. So our brain can function as processing our feeling of anger, fear, joy, and it's activated when the primal region senses danger. And then the large part of our brain is the prefrontal cortex, the logical planner that helps us to remember, plan, imagine, analyze, solve, and communicate. Which part of the brain do you think has more control? The balloon, the amygdala, or the prefrontal cortex? How do they function? And so, according to Daniel Goleman, the author of Emotionally Intelligent Leader, self-regulation is about staying calm and clear-headed under stress. This is our brain again. When it sees danger, given us the emotion of fear, you're angry, that cause adrenaline and cortisol to release into your body. And your brain will tell you to stay away, minimizing danger. And on the other side, if you see a rewarding system, something that you really like, enjoy, the brain releases dopamine and oxytocin and serotonin to give you feeling happy, love, which help you to try to come closer to the reward, as in maximizing the reward. So if your brain gains danger or reward, you constantly experience emotion, as in fear, anger, love, or happiness. So under the stress, it's very important to self-regulate, clear your head, and so stay grounded so you can lead a wildlife conservation project when funding deadlines is looming or your team is panicking, but you can pause, breathe, and respond thoughtfully to your team instead of reacting impulsively. One simple technique is body scan meditation that will really help you to self-regulate. Would you like to try it with me? So first, you stay in a comfortable position. You can cross your legs or just sit comfortable with your back straight. And then close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Notice the tension in your body, your shoulder, your jaw. Release it as you exhale. This helps you to stay grounded. And pause the video for 30 seconds. Take a deep breath 3 times. Notice how your body feels. Write down one word that describes your emotion right now. So now let's talk about empathy. The ability to understand and share others' feelings. In wildlife conservation, you work with diverse team and stakeholders, from the scientists to local communities. Sometimes it's even with the challenging partners, that is your local authorities. And because people come from different perspectives, different values, so empathy is the key to build trust and collaboration. Bennett Brown, in her book, Daring Greatly, says empathy is about connecting with others' emotion without judgment. Let's watch a video together to explore what does she mean and differentiate between empathy and sympathy.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, Not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, you climb down. I know what it's like down here. And you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no. You want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. Yeah. And we do it all the time. Because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So, I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now, I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
What makes something better can be connection, and you use empathy, you can connect with people and avoid some setbacks that leaders face. So take a moment to pause and write one empathic statement for a time someone upset you, something that happened that set back your project, things didn't go your way, and what is the situation be for others. So you could say, like, I can see why you felt that way. Then you connect to the person, and then together you can find a solution. So now let's apply what we learned in crafting a personal leadership vision. Emotional resilience and empathy empower you to lead with purpose. Picture yourself in 5 years from now, leading a wildlife conservation initiative. What impact do you want to make? Maybe it's protecting a species or uniting a community for sustainability. Here is my example. By December 2030, I'm recognized as a thought leader in supporting the development of strong financial resilience for conservation organization in Vietnam, known for shaping adaptive funding, cross-sector solutions to resource and sustain wildlife conservation impact. What is yours? You can vision yourself in the future and see what is your future self is telling you, where that person wants to be, what he or she is doing, and what kinds of impact that they're achieving. Please feel free to pause the video and start writing down of how you see yourself in the future. All right. So we've covered a lot today. You've learned how to use self-regulation, staying calm under pressure, taking a simple meditation, body scan meditation steps to calm yourself, and foster empathy building trust with each other by simply saying, I can see why you felt that way, and be there for the person that you wants to work with. The third one is having a vision, leading with purpose. And lastly, don't forget to celebrate your effort. Recognize your persistence and progress. So, before closing, I would like to ask for your final reflection. Post one takeaway from this workshop on the discussion board. How will you use resilience or empathy in your leadership? I would like to close this workshop with a quote from Marshall Rosenberg. What I want in my life is compassion, a flow between myself and others. Let's keep that flow going. Thank you for joining me today. Let's lead well within and wide beyond. Thank you.